Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I've seen a couple of his videos.
Good stuff. I think we're live. All right, good stuff. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of the Truther Therapy Sessions. Got a couple of guests with me today. I've got Anthony Woodcock from God Rules and the Sons of Thunder, and Games Exposed, who, as we were just laughing about, everyone seems to have heard of this guy somewhere along the way in the conspiracy world. And it's great to have him, but he's just gone away for a couple of minutes. So he'll be back with us soon. Right, how are you doing, Anthony? How's everything going?
Oh man, barely had time to get everything done like usual. Almost every time for a live event that happens. I have 2 young kids, so they're like a lot of work, you know. So I'm good though. Otherwise,
Good. Well,
yeah. Sorry, I only tweeted that we're having a live event, but I don't have very many people following me on Twitter. I was gonna put something up on YouTube, but I just didn't get around to it. I had so much stuff going on today. I was just working on so much stuff. I have a business I'm running too in the side. So
yeah, don't worry about it. I'm sure the views will come in afterwards anyway, if not on the live show.
Oh yeah.
I can get up a chat here. I think if I go into edit, it comes up with all the info, doesn't it? Let's see if anyone's actually joining us. So what's going on here? So yeah, today we want to talk about this shooting in Las Vegas. That's the hot topic, isn't it? And I've been spending the past 2 days just immersing myself in whatever I can find relating to this topic, and I am confused. This is one of those events for me, which is I don't know why it's happened or what the end goal is. If it's controlled, it's hard to tell if it is a false flag or a hoax. If it is a false flag, what kind of false flag? Is it the kind where the gunman never actually died, or is it the type where the gunman was a patsy who didn't know what he was going to be blamed? What kind of it was? Did people die, as many as they say, or were actors used? I can't tell. It seems like there's evidence for every single angle out there, and obviously a lot of disinformation, which always comes with these events. So
yeah, it's a complex one. It's a complex one. I've been finding that there's multiple directions you can go with it as well. And you know what's unfortunate though in the truth community is some person will say, well, it's a hoax, and then another person will say it's a false flag, and then they'll start fighting. And you really don't get anywhere when you just start fighting. But it's better to have constructive talks like this where you're just trying to digest it and figure it out, flesh out the truth in the whole thing.
That's right. Well, that's why I thought, well, let's talk about it tonight as well. I think you're more the expert on this. I was just watching a video you had made yesterday about there being a second gunman. So do you want to talk us through what information you found, and I'll just relay whatever I've heard back off. But I think you spend more time thinking about this than I have in more detail. So
well, there's definitely at least 2 gunmen. There might have been up to 4, according to some reports, but I think there's at least 2. There's some cab footage where it's very clear that there's 2 different shots from completely different locations. Like one's very close to the cab and one's very far from the cab. So that's some audio evidence, and there's also some other things as well. There's like flashes on the building at different floors. There's also police radio where they're talking, and they say that there was a gunman on the 29th floor and a gunman on the 32nd floor. And so there's also reports of him on the 4th floor potentially. So you got all these things going on, and I just decided to stop doing videos on it because I did so many videos on it. I was just like, I'm getting way too into this, and there's so many different things to look at. It's a little hard to figure out the exact truth on it, what's going on. But I think the whole point in the end is that they want to bring in gun laws. I think is the ultimate point, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've already noticed. All I did was type into Google search something like Las Vegas shooting, and the 3 headline topics they give to you that they want you to read at the very top from all the major news networks. We're talking about how it's horror as conspiracy theorists claim victims' deaths were hoaxes. And they were really pinning it against the truther culture, I noticed. And I was like, oh dear, is that how they're going to spin this? The next thing I know, an hour later, I checked the headlines and it's spinning it towards white Christians instead. And this, like, was it? Conservatives refused to accept this was a white Christian terrorist attack. It's kind of, you know, all this, everything we imagined would come flowing our way from this social Marxist liberal satanic media was there 1 hour after the other, just one different headline after another. It's like, so what is the main objective for this event? Well, it seems like they have plenty they can get out of it. They're squeezing this event dry for everything they can get out of it. to attack their enemies, which is us, obviously, the people who expose them. I heard that End Times News had got more views than CNN on the topic as well.
Oh, really? That channel? Yeah, that channel had a lot of videos on it. Ridiculous.
Yeah, apparently they've been attacking him now in the media, attacking him, saying, obviously,
oh, really?
This guy is incredible compared to us and all this type of stuff. So it seems like the mainstream media is getting shook up with how they're controlling the narrative. And what I found very interesting about this one is more people than ever are looking at it from the hoax perspective rather than believing it's a real event, even non-truthers.
Or false flag. You have a lot of people looking at it as false flag or hoax, yeah.
But not your average conspiracy theorist, just normal everyday people.
No, you're right, because I noticed it with the views. I have, I think I made like 5 videos, and my top video that just went crazy viral is on my Sons of Thunder. It has like 500,000 views about, and it's all about the second gunman. So people are not trusting the media. They're not trusting that there was only one gunman and that he acted alone. And I mean, because I cover a lot of stuff in that video, and it's pretty clear. The way I put it is, I think it's probably a false flag, but that's just my opinion on it. So,
way a false flag.
What do you think? Games exposed. What do you think, man? The green alien guy.
All right, man. Well, I could tell you the story behind the green man in a suit, but I will leave it for another time. To answer your question, I would say that a member of my Games Exposed Facebook group, which I don't really like to use that platform, Facebook. I actually call it Fedbook, but you have to comply with the rules of society somehow, to get in touch with viewers and people. But yeah, there was this person who posted a photo showing the exact location of the event. So basically, right next to where the shooting takes place, like exactly in front of it, there is the phallus symbol. Then there is the Sphinx symbol, and right behind the Sphinx symbol, there is a pyramid which has the light on top. So that's exactly next to the shooting. So me being into the Illuminati symbolism and things of that nature, I think that this was very much a ritualistic event, because it's not like back in the Aztec times where you could just sacrifice people as a show in front of people. Now you have to do it undercover, so they invent shootings and things like this. And also, I've seen a lot of footage from...
it's like 9/11. 9/11 was a ritual one as well. Yeah,
exactly. Go ahead. From a numerological perspective as well, from an energetical perspective, there's location on the planet, and also symbolical perspective, of course, with all these... pyramid, Sphinx, phallus, obviously
the two towers, the 2 towers of Freemasonry, yeah, and under the arch, there's a Washington arch on 9/11. You can actually see where they hit the buildings through the arch if you're standing at I think it's a Washington Center. I can't remember what it's exactly called, but it's something like that.
Well, the buildings themselves represent the pillars. That you see in Freemasonry, and the unification of the pillars with the arch on top, and 9/11, it's actually an IXXI symbol. So if you're deep into the conspiracy zone like we are, this looks very obvious to us. We don't have to think too much about it. We only have to see a few elements that basically confirm Illuminati confirmed, guys. I know it's a joke, I know, but that's the reality we live in, and it's crazy.
Not a conspiracy in my eyes. If Illuminati confirmed, it's going to be used to mock us. I say let's own it because it is confirmed. I've got some pictures. I've got some pictures up here of the landscape. If you can see, I think it's screen sharing, and it shows the pyramid here, doesn't it? God, it's such an occult-looking place.
Oh yeah.
Well, these stairways here as well. These steps. That's a very bizarre thing. In Freemasonry, there's an image of them climbing the steps to get to the top. So I think that's quite interesting being there as well. That's quite a distance.
Also, the people from 4chan, they did also an investigation, especially on the channel called POL, which stands for Politically Incorrect. They did
Yeah.
a lot of investigation into this. I know that most of the time is stupid postings there, like a lot of immoral stuff is going on. But from all that chaos, sometimes good things emerge, such as investigations. And the investigations there are very, very good because there's people from all around the world basically brainstorming on one thing and looking at the picture from all its various angles. So I've seen a lot of pictures with good points coming from there, you know, before they got picked by the other media and YouTube channels. I just didn't act to make my own videos because I think that it's not my place to really talk about this. I'm not in United States. I'm, over here in Transylvania, Romania, up in the mountains. So it's not really my thing, but I do like this symbolic world. And if there is someone already out there who has covered this, this probably is. I don't like to be. I like to make information if I come first with it, not if other videos exist with the same information, basically.
So you live in Pennsylvania, right?
No, Transylvania, in a country called Romania.
Transylvania. Okay, I was going to say, I thought you must be from some, or you're Romanian, or is that right? Yeah,
that
okay.
is correct.
I was thinking you're probably from somewhere like Russia or somewhere in maybe like Eastern Europe or something. Okay,
Yes.
I thought you said Pennsylvania, so I thought maybe you're like an immigrant or something. Okay,
Your hunch is accurate. Yeah, these damn immigrants taking all our jobs instead.
Yeah, the green alien immigrants, right?
No, I'm all right where I am. I feel great where I am, and there is less censorship here. It's more freedom for me, and I enjoy the chaos. It's less rules. It's more chaotic, but I like it here in the chaos. That's where I dwell.
Well, on this shooting as well. Speaking of strange pictures and things like this, my friend sent me something on Facebook. Well, I told him to send it me on Facebook. The man who did the shooting had a tattoo on his neck of the number 13. Very subtle, but it is there, and I've got the link here if I can get it up from my Facebook. Yeah, very, very bizarre, because on the dead body, which is supposedly the guy who was killed and did the shooting, there is no 13 on his neck. The tattoo's gone. So that raises a lot of suspicion in my eyes as well. Let's see if I can get this
There was something also about the 32nd floor, which could lead towards 322. I don't know if I'm mistaken. I don't remember where I saw the information, but I think there was something with a 32.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I can't say that it's 322 because it's not 322. It's just 32. I don't like to make speculation unless I like it to be specific. But
there was another 32 also. I think it had to do with like the 32nd something celebration, and then it was on 32nd floor. I can't remember what the 232s were, but there was two of them.
Maybe it's you reverse it, you get 23, which is another important occultic number that Aleister Crowley used to describe immortality and things of that sort.
Well, the highest level in Freemasonry is 33. So if he was the level just below, level 32, and he's a very rich man, apparently this guy was a millionaire, maybe this was his sacrificial ritual to elevate to the 33rd level. That's just a random off-the-cuff theory. I'm just throwing that out there. But,
could be anything is possible, man.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
These people
you had a
are
picture though,
crazy.
you said, with the number 13 on it, or?
Yeah, well, I've got a picture of him here. If I can just zoom in quickly, you can see on his.
It's actually
he does
got
have
13 on it.
Yeah. Can you see my screen here?
Yep.
That there.
Oh,
got on his neck 30.
That is very strange. I didn't even notice that when I looked. Because it's where the Adam's apple would be. That's maybe why I didn't notice. But also, I was going to put up another.
I thought it was a crease at first, but there's another picture of it where it's there again. So it is an actual tattoo. It's not
that
just.
Is really weird.
Yeah.
There's also something you mentioned. He's a millionaire. Something I had learned. I was going to do a video about this, but I ended up not doing it really. His brother mentioned something about arms, and then he stopped himself mid-sentence. He said arm, and then he stopped himself like he'd really screwed up. And I was thinking he was going to say arms dealer, like his brother was an arms dealer, which actually would make sense because the guy's like, he was a retired accountant and he's spending millions of dollars. He's just making all this money, just going to all these different locations in the Middle East and stuff. And you're like, why would an retired accountant be so rich and going to the Middle East all the time? And the fact that he had so many guns in his possession, it makes me wonder if he really was an arms dealer. There's a lot of corruption in Vegas in that realm, and that might have been how he was able to have that room too. And I'm thinking there's a lot more to it than that, but I'm just saying that's one aspect I had heard that I wanted to hit on that I never got to hit on video, but I thought it was an interesting idea.
Well. Yeah. Well, they say he made his money by being a professional gambler, which
which is pretty hard.
Yeah, I say the house always wins. All right, I can't really believe someone could make that much professional living. You know.
Oh yeah, it's very difficult.
How smart you are. I don't care if you're Rain Man. You know, you'll lose eventually. So that's a very bizarre, a good cover story. And I just watched his brother actually on the CBS interview, the half-hour interview. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it, throw it out there. My opinion. It seems like he's acting to me. That's all I can say. And he starts going on about his mother going through depression and giving this incredibly intricate backstory to his family. It's kind of like, your brother just committed mass murder. Why are you telling everyone all this stuff in the middle of the street? Like, it's very bizarre. And it was he had remembered those stories to tell them, is what I could see in it. That's just my opinion on that matter. Have you seen it yourself?
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, I agree. I think he knows something. He's playing a game here with words and stuff too. I don't know exactly what, like you said, it's a little confusing how to analyze the whole thing. I don't think it was some sort of hoax. I think it really was a false flag. I don't know how many people died or anything though. And, some people are claiming they're all fake deaths, but I don't really think that's probably the case.
No. There's no way that is true because I have a friend whose friend died in the sad event. But I think it's just a ritual. These guys do rituals. We've had tons of shootings and no repercussions. Like the gun laws didn't happen. So why would they keep repeating a tactic that doesn't work? That's what I'm saying. So I think this is just ritual. They are just sadistic Luciferian worshippers, and they like to do this kind of thing.
Well, more evidence on that point is it was the Harvest Festival. And if it was a sacrifice, isn't it the end? Hasn't the Jewish holiday just ended as well recently? Through September 23rd.
Right. They like to do it on certain days too. This is about the right time.
It's
the Harvest Festival. Are they harvesting souls in front of a giant pyramid? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of it seems like a mass sacrifice to me. That's what it feels
Look
like.
at the picture that I just posted in our Google Hangouts chat.
Sure, let's have a look here.
I think it would actually help with the gun laws if they can get people to believe that it was like just some random white guy and he somehow was able to pull this off on his own. It makes it sound like it's less safe, but I do think that you're right. It is a sacrifice, but I think they're trying to kill.
Look at the positioning. Look at that picture right now.
Sphinx, obelisk, pyramid.
Like the phallus is a sign of power, right? It's like pure power. We own this because it's the penis, right? So we own this. And then you got the pyramid with which has a light and it shines at night. And I don't know exactly what the Sphinx symbolizes, but I think that it's exactly in front, so it's like aligned. So I think there's something
the Sphinx,
there,
The Sphinx was built, it wasn't built by the Egyptians. It was already there beforehand from ancient civilizations post Nephilim hybrid flood. It's a human mixed with an animal, so it represents the Nephilim kingdom, the kingship that took over rulership of the people. So the Pharaoh.
I think you're right. Also, I think it represents the locusts in Revelation that come out of the bottomless pit. If you actually read the description of the locusts, it has the little exact description of the Sphinx. It talks about them. It has long hair. Everything's like matches. It's really strange. If you go read it about the locusts, even though it uses the word locust, I think it's actually, if you read the description, it fits the Sphinx to a T.
Yeah, it's like a lion-clawed, scorpion-tailed
hybrid type thing. Yeah,
it's a mix of a lot of animals in one, basically. But a hybrid creature, anyway, shall we say? And I think it represents the kingship, because the pharaohs and the kingship that went throughout history believed they had the divine right to rule because they had royal blood, which comes directly from the gods, the fallen angels, and the ones that created the Nephilim.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
So that's what that represents, I think. And obviously, the phallus is Osiris, which is an Egyptian symbol, obviously for
dicks.
Dicks, yeah. Well, yes, it's a giant dick, and I think America has the biggest.
Yeah, America's got the biggest one, man.
The biggest one in
America.
Also, they have a naked woman being put in front of it too. You know about that, right?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I did.
That's probably Semiramis in front of Osiris's phallic. You know, this is kind of what I'm thinking.
ISIS. It's ISIS.
ISIS is also Semiramis. Semiramis is the original name. Nimrod's member, Semiramis.
And obviously Osiris or Nimrod, it's many names for the same character. Nimrod was one that built the tower to heaven. So the pyramid symbol of this thing going to heaven, it could link. It's all one amalgamated symbol, isn't it, for the Illuminati power structure that rules everything behind the scenes. And here it is.
How many people died? Like, this was like a brutal sacrifice of a lot of people right in front of it.
That's right. Yeah, so I'm calling bullshit on this whole event.
Yeah, you know, it was a lot of them were potentially conservatives or Christians or whites, and then what they did is they blamed a white Christian, and he's not actually a Christian, obviously, this guy that did it. But so it's like, you know, they're trying to like say, look, we killed the Christians, but we're going to blame the Christians, you know.
Yeah, and he was a left-winger too. He was spotted by 4chan. They found pictures with him at Antifa rallies.
That's hardly
essentially. I don't know if it's him, but it could be. Yeah,
it could be. That's what I mean. There's a lot of disinformation out there mixed in with this, but it's all very convincing. But
look, it's his face.
Are you sending the picture?
It could be. I've seen the picture.
I don't have it right here, but there's like multiple pictures. I don't know.
It could be him. It could be him. It's hard to tell because it's kind of.
Well, I saw Fox.
It's hard to tell.
Fair enough. We can't really say, but you know.
I saw Fox News
is a bit blurred.
Exactly on that thing saying this was an attack from the left on the right. So obviously it was a country western rally concert, was it? Most people who listen to country music, the stereotype is right-wing patriots, you know, conservative value type people. So it would seem politically motivated, and also usually, I think it's known that people who commit mass murder because they want to be remembered infamously for killing a lot of people are usually really young. This guy was 62, so it probably wasn't for that reason. So political reasons is usually the reason afterwards, the most common reason for mass murder. So
I think like all pieces of the puzzles like are crafted separately to make sense in a final masterpiece of an Illuminati ritual, basically, you know? From everything, what type of people we will attack? Well, these kinds of people. Where we will do it? Well, here, you know? Who's gonna do it? This guy. You know, it's a bit simple. It sounds simple when I say it, but
really is simple. I understand that this stuff is premeditated.
That's the reality, you know. It's pretty simple if you figure it out.
Well, they have Sin City, right? Las Vegas is Sin City. It's just sort of ironic that it was a country festival, you know, because Sin City is not known for having a bunch of moral people or a bunch of Christians in it. So they would have to do it on a country. It would make sense to be a country festival because they're trying to get the Christians in there to kill them. You know what I mean? Because I mean, obviously that would please the devil more, if anything, right? You know, so kill a bunch of Christians
and then blame it on Christians.
Yeah, and blame it on Christians. Exactly. Makes perfect sense, right?
Well, it's also the timing of all this as well. It's coming at the back end of a mass wave of Islamic attacks that have been happening in Europe and as well. Do you know what I mean? So this kind of really does detract attention from the common occurring real political terrorist attacks coming from true, extremely right-wing Muslims. But they never want to mention that, do they? So, you know, now we have a right-wing, white Christian conservative killing people, but he's not. He's clearly a liberal shooter. So
okay, I wanted to explain how they came up with this idea that he is a Christian. First, he's not a religious guy, but what it was is his father was a bank robber. He was on the FBI most wanted list, and his father was also a scam artist. His father pretended to be a pastor. He started some bingo place and he founded it as a church and claimed he was a pastor. He was a scam artist. His father was. So they're saying, well, his father was a pastor when he really was a scam artist, and this guy's the son of a pastor when in reality he was just a scam artist. You know what I mean? So I just think it's kind of funny how they somehow, exaggerated and tried to make him into this Christian from something so silly. I mean, the dude was on the FBI's most wanted list. He was a bank robber. His father was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a total good Christian there, bank robber. It's like,
It seems like his family and even his brother are tied up in some really dodgy things to begin with anyway, high-rolling dodgy things, like possibly arms dealing to the Middle East. So these people weren't nobodies. They were well off, and we know rich people, or should I say birds of a feather flock together, and most of the people with most of the money in the world are involved in some really nefarious stuff, or secret societies, shall we say, as well. So we can't rule this out. It's because if there was a second gunman, who was this person shooting with this person? Because I remember on the receipt, I think the evidence we have for this is that it says on the receipt the day before the shooting that 2 people checked in, or he ordered 2 meals or something like that. However, his partner, Mary Lou, is that her name, had been sent away by that point back to the Philippines or wherever she was from originally. And he paid for that, just gave her some money and said, go, So she wasn't there with him anymore. So who was this extra person that came in? And obviously they said they were shooting on the 32nd floor and the 29th. So that was reported. I listened to the radio calls actually on your channel on that video. And yeah, something's not being talked about by the mainstream here. There's a lot of unanswered questions. Who do you think it was? Who do you think was the second gunman? Another member of the same society he's a part of in this big orchestration? Or a military man who just got called into the job of some kind? What do you think it was? Or maybe ISIS. He was supposedly radicalized. That's
I don't know about that, man. I mean, a lot of lies, a lot of mirages, you know what I mean? A lot of deception in the world. It's hard to tell what's what anymore. Even ISIS could be a sort of a, even though I think it's a real thing, a real movement, I mean, it's controlled. I think the elite somehow control it. Perhaps some of the top leadership of ISIS are really just not really part of it. They don't really believe that stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of control the whole thing. And that's just my theory is I think they kind of control ISIS by moving them around with money somehow. The elite. I mean, look at Saudi Arabia, for instance. I mean, it's very interesting how the House of Saud took over that whole region. And it was because, they were backed by Britain. And the House of Saud is allegedly Jewish or cousins of Jews. So I thought it was kind of funny in that respect as well. The House of Saud is not really Arabs, and they took over a whole Arab region. And they violate the Quran all the time. They dye their beards, and they do a bunch of stuff that's against the Quran. It's just funny, And of course, they have in their house or their palace, they have all these hot chicks walking around with nothing on, I mean, just like a normal, like in America, skimpy dresses and stuff. Of course, they get the youngest chick with them, and you know what I mean. So it's a bunch of hypocrisy, fake. I think some of these people that are in the high ups in that area don't really believe any of this stuff. They're just playing games and controlling the people with this psychotic, psychotic philosophy. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I understand. I mean, I think most Muslims, one of them are peaceful, like the rest of us. But if you get those figureheads in place being really, really loud and pushing the fundamentalist teachings of the Quran, you can then rally the people to get murderous about it and want to start a new caliphate. It is possible, but I don't think anyone wants that. Realistically, human beings don't necessarily want that. But that fire is definitely being stoked right now in the Middle East, and coincidences just don't happen. I think all of this is probably orchestrated. And ISIS, it seems like the perfect boogeyman. We had Al Qaeda to begin with as well, didn't we, for the West? I can see where the left are quite right on when they say stuff like that. You know what I mean? That,
they mysteriously get a lot of money and support. Where's this money and support coming from, right?
Well, didn't America, when they left the Middle East, leave behind all of their equipment, which ISIS just then used?
Exactly. So, I mean, there's so many weird. Just
all by the US Army, So, yeah, very, very suspect stuff. But what I'm saying in relations to that, we've had a lot of ISIS shootings and attacks recently, and now they're playing the other side as well, trying to portray it as the other side. But there's a lot of mistakes and flaws in all of this. I mean, it's possible the bucket bomb that went off in Britain recently for a bomb, supposedly. Everything surrounding that flaming bucket was pristine and not even touched or burnt in the slightest. So there's a lot of like mistakes just left in these events, which makes it all seem a bit lazy. Like these guys are.
Maybe they do it on purpose. I kind of wonder if they do it on purpose just to just so they can laugh and say, "Look how stupid they are. They can't even see through it." You know,
Maybe
it's like a way of mocking people. You know what I mean?
I do. Sometimes I wonder. That's what I'm thinking. Like, are these people really that stupid, or do they think we're that stupid, or what?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
What's
kind of like Sodom and Gomorrah. If you read about them in the book of Jasher, they like taunting people. In the Sodom and Gomorrah, they like taunting people. Like what it was is the 5 cities of the plain, and when people would come into the city, they would rob them and then just mock them while they're robbing them. They would torture people. They would, like, a beggar would come into the city. They would strap them to a pole and give them money, but they wouldn't give them any food. And why don't you buy something with that money? You know, they would taunt him until he died. So I mean, it's like a taunt. So I'm kind of wondering if it's like a form of cruelty. Maybe the elite have this form of cruelty in their mind. You know what I mean?
Lies, I think we call it. They just want to get off on messing.
Yeah, they get off on doing evil. You know what I mean?
They have defined all the social constructs, all the definitions of what it means to be sane, of what people should follow, what people should think is true information, and what should they think is just a bunch of tinfoil hatters. And sadly, the truth side is on the side that is depicted as the crazy lunatics who should not be taken seriously, you know?
I think there's some characters out there which don't do us any justice on that level, and they actually do act like the crazy conspiracy theorists, which puts people off. And I do wonder if those people are genuine, or if they're put there to perpetuate the stereotype of crazy tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. But I think most people, myself included, when they sincerely look at us and what people like us have to say, they actually realize, oh, they're not crazy. They're just like me and everyone else in the world. They've just looked at stuff I haven't seen yet. And I'm thinking that's growing the culture slightly. I think there's a lot of examples out there. It's a lot better than it used to be in 2012, let's say, or, you know, the early 9/11 truth videos. It's a lot more effort put into it. People have more skills now, you know, with technology, video making technology.
I am making the best I can when it comes to the editing side of things. I don't know if you've seen my videos, but I do put a lot of work. Like, before I released one of those games exposed episodes, the official ones, you know, because there's videos where I just talk about random nothing, but the actual episodes, to make one of those episodes, it takes like 2 weeks, you know.
No, I didn't.
I obviously have to spend the time playing the game, then recording the footage, then deciding what footage should be in the video, developing a narrative, creating a script, deciding what could keep the viewer interested, you know, all these factors, arranging the images, music, everything, really.
A lot of it's the intro. A lot of it's just because what happens, like, you have this video here, it's got 634,000 views. That's the one I saw, because I actually saw a couple of your videos here. But that was one of them. I saw Chris Cornell, Chester.
That's actually the worst video I ever made. But
no. See, with viral videos, it's all about just keeping the person.
No, I'm never gonna make a viral video ever again. No.
No, I mean, it's really all it is it's about how many people click. Just the science behind it is how many people click through in the first hour and how long they stay on your video. If you can keep on your video for a long time and you get a lot of people clicking through the first hour, it usually goes crazy like that. And then sometimes it's just like maybe later it goes crazy and gets huge.
Like, the episodes that you want to watch from me are the Games Exposed series.
Those are the ones you love doing. Those are the ones you love doing, obviously.
Yes, anything other than that is just, you know,
I know what
stuff that I care less about.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
But when it comes to Chester, I really had to make a video because I saw that no one else talked about what I did. Like, for example, the Goodbye video, which was released exactly 2 months before Chester died. And in that video, Chester was destroyed physically by some kind of magical girl being, you know. And he was being destroyed in that video, so I thought, interesting. And there was this devilish character kind of in the background, so I thought, what a strange video to have released just 2 months before the death, and no one covered it. So I had to make a video, and the rest of the stuff I put in the video was just like feeling for me, you know. So it's not the best video. I, of course, took the time to make it as well as I could. It's the most viral, despite the fact that I only spent 2 days on it or something like that.
That's always the case with any artist's work. The stuff you hate, everyone else loves, and you end up having to do what you hate for the rest of your life. That's always the case. It always has been with every artist that ever existed in the entire world.
It's kind of like that. You're right. It is kind of like that. I agree. Although lately it's been getting a little bit better for me. I'm like, well, finally getting some of the ones I really like getting bigger. Maybe because I'm getting better at it or something. I don't know. But like some of the really important topics I like usually make me lose subscribers. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, so I got to do these other channels, other topics as well. I can't just do one topic. I have to cover, you know, a broad range of topics. And but lately it's been getting better. The ones I really wanted to hit on are doing pretty good too. You know, maybe not, you know, humongous views, but you know, still like 30, 40,000 views, 50,000 views. It's still good, you know.
No, your channel's doing really well. My channel, you see, the problem is every time I get a video that does get kind of viral and starts racking up some views really quick, they demonetize me instantly. And
yeah, that's common.
And it always happens every time.
Like they don't want you to make money, man. They just want you to go away. That's how they are, you know.
Literally, I mean, I could have
always make a Patreon, but
well, I have made a Patreon. That's great. I have 4 Patreons and I get $23 a month.
No, Patreon's not really the solution in the truther community because the truthers don't really. I don't know what it is. They're not really into Patreon or something.
No, but I don't like to monetize because then I put advertisements on my videos, so it defeats the purpose of me being against the system and against the advertising world, you know?
Well, you know, that's the thing, man. I mean, there's good advertising. There's people you might agree with. Like, I advertise survival items. You know?
Survival gear.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing some of that on my videos. I have like a survival guide, how to survive an EMP attack.
Yeah, that's all right. That's cool. That's cool. That's good stuff.
The thing is,
I mean, it makes me money, you know?
You don't make any money anyway off YouTube ads, hardly. I mean, I make literally about $10 a month, and in British pounds, that's like £6 a month off. I have 120 videos all getting views regularly. Some of them are getting to like 70,000, and I still only get about $10 a month on top of my
which kind of proves that we actually do it out of passion, you know, and out of the love for truth and stuff like that, you know, because maybe people are being like, oh, you're just a bunch of sellouts, you just want to make money, but we're not making any money, so therefore we can't.
I don't think anybody's really making much money anymore. The thing is, though, I figured out keywords that make money and ones that don't. It's kind of crazy because like that September 23rd, I did a video on that, and I made, you know, like I had a day where I made $50 on my Sons of Thunder. I'm like, what? I looked at it today. I'm like, what was going on there? Why is it like $5 to $8 one day and then it's all of a sudden 45 and then $5 again? I'm like, what's going on here? I'm like, oh, it's a September 23rd. Why did that make money? I don't know why that made money. But all these videos on shootings are making literally nothing. I made like $2 on like 50,000 views. You know, it's like, okay. What's the point?
I put anything controversial in my titles or in the tags. Literally within 5 minutes, I get demonetized. So
yeah, exactly.
This is the sad thing. I have videos that have been demonetized which have nothing to do with anything controversial. I have one where I'm just talking about, look, if you're a conspiracy theorist, either you're kind of the New Age conspiracy theorist or you're the Christian conspiracy theorist. Make a choice. That's all the video was about for 13 minutes, and there was nothing else but me speaking, and that's been demonetized. And it says not suitable for advertisements. It's like, what? I've seen worse.
I can send you a list of words that work and don't work. I actually figured out like a lot of words that don't work and a lot of words that, and you'd be surprised. It's very, I mean, it's like the word shocking. That word is actually a word that can demonetize your video. The word surprising, but if you use the word surprising, you won't be demonetized. So it's like really kind of silly stuff like that. You'd be surprised. It'd be just a normal word you wouldn't think would demonetize you can demonetize your video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is scary.
I can send you a list because I spent a lot of time figuring it out, and then I quit trying to figure it out. I was like, whatever.
No, send the list. I'm interested. I'm interested to see that. Do send the list.
So one of the best phrases is cell phones. If you use the word cell phone in your title, you can make a lot of money sometimes. You'd be surprised.
Do you have a MIDI keyboard in the background, or is that a synthesizer?
What is it? Is it like a buzzing noise?
No, I'm asking behind you. There is a keyboard.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's one of the classic keyboards you get in the average high school classroom.
All right.
It comes with DJ and everything.
All right. Nah, you have like a lot of elements in your background, so if people get bored, they can always look at your objects.
My book collection, my Strange Onion Dome, whatever.
Is that like a sword or fencing?
Yeah, you got a sword.
Yeah, well, these were, my great auntie had them in her house, and when she passed away, I kind of took some of the.
Cool, man. It's like for fencing or something, right?
It's a cheap
Cheap one.
It has no edge to it or anything. It's not like that, but it's got some dragons on the end.
Yeah, that looks cool for role playing, I think.
Yeah, there you go. You can be one of those guys that go out and do role playing outside. I don't know even what they call that.
Yeah, cosplay.
Well, no, it never leaves the wall, really. That's the first time it's left the wall in a long time. I'm kind of covered in cobwebs now, to be honest. But yeah, right. Well, actually, guys, I do want to get onto video games as well today as a talk. That's why we have Games Exposed. And obviously, Anthony, you said you were working on a video game yourself, weren't you? And you're working with developers and helping developers as well. Do you want to fill us in on what that was all about? Because he was going to join us, wasn't he? But he's having problems with his computer.
Yeah, he has something old computer. It doesn't work too hot. But yeah, we're actually developing 2 games. One's with Rob Skiba. He owns that game. It's called Archon Invasion. And that's the one we're trying to finish first. It's sort of for cell phones. And it's one of those fast-paced type of games where you're trying to run through and dodge things and avoid death and grab stuff. And it's kind of like a fast-paced game, you know what I mean? You use your finger. It's like a touchscreen type of game. And it's in the past. It's like maybe I'm not going to do the game justice, but it's sort of like the Nephilim, ancient times, maybe like before the flood, and you have fallen angels and you have dinosaurs or whatever you want to call it in the game that you're dodging and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like based on Rob Skiba's series called Archon Invasion. That game.
I think I heard him talk about it a while ago. Is it? And there actually was images on the screen of actually a game is pretty almost developed.
It's actually really good graphics and stuff. I'm trying to get him to add in a lot more action to the game, and I'm gonna make sure the game is really awesome before it's finished. It's actually Rob Skiba's game, but I want to make sure the game's good because I'm part invested into it myself, and I want to make sure the game is really good. And it's actually probably going to be free. There's going to be like probably 2 ways it's going to be. It's either going to be free with advertisements, or it's going to be like, where you spend like, $8 and you get it or something. So you can either have it free with advertisements or spend $8. And I think there's like power-ups and stuff you can buy in the game, upgrades and stuff.
Don't make it pay to win, man. That's going to be
yeah, pay to win. I don't know. It's going to have some upgrades in it. We have to figure that all out. There's some cool stuff we're going to be putting in the game, but that's not my game. That's Rob Skiba's game. But I invested in the game already some. So
what about your friend, man? He's a game developer, you said? The one with a broken computer? How can he be game developer?
No. He's the owner of the company. He owns JIL, which is Jesus is Lord Games, and he's not exactly well off or anything, but he's got a new computer coming in the mail. It just hasn't come yet, I guess. He's not the developer. The developer, his name is Justin Elms, and he's got a really good computer. So he's a really advanced programmer. He's really good.
Yeah, I was just trying to make a joke, developer with no computer.
No, it's cool. No, he's working with the Unreal Engine because they released it, I guess, public. It's
yeah, but you still have to buy a lot of assets.
He's got a lot of assets. He's got a lot of them already. He's got a lot. So, and he spent some money on some as well. He was even planning on making some of these virtual reality games that are lifelike, with the goggles. He hasn't done that yet. That's going to be a later thing. But
if you guys need a sound designer, I'm really good at that stuff.
Cool, man.
I can make original sounds. I can make soundtracks. I can make sound effects. Anything.
That's good. Sweet. Oh, I can get you in touch with them. Maybe Paul can send me your email or something later. But we also have a second game too that it's the one I actually am developing. It's called Secrets of Acadian Island, and actually that one's sort of like modern day, but it also is dealing with the Nephilim and all that stuff. And you're on this island, and that's actually 3D. We're going to be putting that on the computer, maybe on Xbox or PlayStation as well. I think we're probably going to try Xbox, but it's going to be first released on the PC, and it's 3D. It's going to be like Just Cause or like Far Cry. It's going to be like a 3D open world type of game.
PC Master Race.
Well, you're on this island, and they have like a Hadron Collider underground, and they're doing all these like hybrid experiments in this military base, and you're going to infiltrate the base, and you have like this invisible.
So how can you make a big 3D world with a small team? Like, that's a challenge. It's a big challenge.
Yeah, but okay. What it was is Tony, that's the guy that owns JIL. He was looking for some programmers, and he was going through and asking guys for quotes on how much they would cost and what they can do. And apparently Justin was the cheapest, but he also was the best. He was like way better than all the other programmers. The other ones were asking for a lot of money, and he was just looking for money to pay his bills. So he wasn't looking to, make a ton of money. And so he's really into it for the reason of the kingdom. He's not into it, to make a bunch of money. So that's kind of what's going on there. Because I was giving him $1,500 a month out of my own pocket for a long time, like months, like almost a year. I gave him a lot of money. I gave him like over, I don't know. I think I put about $15,000 already into both games. So
are you almost at completion, or what's happening?
Well, I know with the Acadian Island, they got two, or not my game, the Archon Invasion, he's done 2 levels, but they're like big levels. And we have this new guy came on board. I guess he's a rich guy that knows Ray Comfort and Kirk Cameron. Apparently, he's going to be paying him for 4 months, $2,000 a month or something like that. This is what we're hoping that he comes through, because I don't want to get into a lot of stuff, but they're having a hard time getting money. And of course, I'm not like having money coming in.
Be careful what you say, man. We are in a public forum right now, Some things cannot be disclosed, like information, in-depth gaming and financial information. Don't.
Oh, no. This is just a gift. I mean, he's probably going to be, from what I understand, he's going to be receiving some money back. He's going to, it's like an investment. So this Christian guy that obviously is a millionaire, from what I understand, he's investing in the game, and he's going to get some. It's actually an investment, so it's not like he's just giving the money for no reason. He's going to be receiving, whatever from sales later. It's like an investment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and that's actually what I did too as well. I get a percentage of whatever Rob Skiba's game sells. So, and in my game, I get a certain percentage of that too, whatever ends up selling out of it. And so, I mean, that's just kind of what's going on. But I mean, I couldn't keep paying him $1,500 a month because I don't have money coming out of my ears. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, you bleed money basically.
Yeah, it's like I don't think I don't have money tree in my backyard. You know what I mean? So.
Well, the thing is, it's for a good cause, essentially, because there are no Christian games on the market that are palatable to everybody. If probably most people would consider a Christian game, they imagine that concept as something that's innocent, nice, lovely, and boring. But what you're trying to make is a game that actually is like a fast-paced action shooter themed all about the Illuminati, the experiments, the things that they're probably actually up to in real life, and
clones, Nephilim offspring. Just the game is going to be completely like sci-fi, but you're fighting the Illuminati in a sense. That's basically what you're trying to shut down. What they're doing, they're trying to bring the Antichrist sort of through not a wormhole, but like some other dimension. Kind of like using a Hadron Collider. They're trying to use that to do it.
But the irony is
some of my stuff that I've done in the past.
Yeah, the irony is the video game industry already does that. Every game is about you taking down this evil big corporation, which is the Illuminati, but they always just twist it with lies and things that are not actually react the way the real thing goes. There's some over dramatization on a very specific point, which is irrelevant in real life. But if you actually,
this is going to have actual Christian stuff in it. We're going to have the Book of Enoch in it. We're going to have, scripture in various places, and there's going to be an aspect of praying. And then also, what's really interesting, what the part of the game that we think is going to really make it sell, because you always have to have some sort of edge. We're going to make it like where your perception changes when you're around these Nephilim, where it like messes with your mind and like distorts reality and stuff. So we're going to have like sort of like your mind is affected. And I've actually seen that in a couple games in the past. Max Payne on one part, it sort of had like a dreamlike part of the game.
I remember the baby was screaming in the background, and you're running
Right.
full of blood in like a void of some kind.
So you played that too. Yeah, I played that a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. A long time ago. That was full of it too, that game. Do you remember Max Payne Games Exposed? Did you ever play that one?
No, I wasn't playing that series in particular, but...
Well, its main mechanic hook was that you could slow down time while shooting.
Right.
It was like the first time that's ever really happened in a game, and it was fantastic. But the storyline was about you were a cop on a vendetta to avenge your dead family who was killed by this underground drug kind of cartel of some kind. But it turns out you defeat all the lower level gang members, and it turns out it's this big corporation who's making this drug and giving it to people, and it was actually them who are responsible inevitably, although they probably don't care about your wife dying. So you take down the whole system, and it's everything we've ever imagined. But there was a nightclub you went to at one point where it was like all these people who sold the drugs were there, and it was called Valhalla, and it was about the underworld, and very satanic stuff was in that game throughout that scene. People were doing rituals and sacrificing people in this place. It's like, for the time, this was before people really knew anything about the Illuminati anyway, but they were really... The older games just tell it all. You know, the older games just throw it all out there because they never thought the internet would become what it was, I think. And I don't think they realized we'd figure out what they were actually saying.
Deus Ex is another good example. If you check out the first one, like from the 90s. It's a really good game too, you know. I mean, I'll give it to them. It's great creative games. That's why I play them. But I also like to expose the symbolism, you know. And I made like by like how many episodes, like 17 episodes so far. So that means like 17 games I have done. The recent one is Prey, and Prey is a really good science fiction game, but I mean, if you just look at the logo, it's already there, you know. It's like a pyramid but from the side. Like, it's a triangle with the line, kind of like the anarchy symbol, but not really, you know. It's supposed to be just a scanner. So, you know, the average person looks at it and sees some random lights, but what I see is a clear Illuminati symbol, you know.
Yeah, I remember I played that a while ago. Is that the one where you're a Cherokee Indian in like a bar at the beginning, and then a spaceship just picks you up? Is that a different one?
Prey, the second Prey, the Prey from 2017.
Oh, I haven't played that one. I played the first one a long time ago.
This one, you are suffering of amnesia basically in the beginning, and you are already in a distant future. You're not in a bar. You are stuck on a spaceship all the time, and you're fighting these enemies that are all made of black goo, basically. You guys are into the black goo, and they always have this purplish haze to them, you know, which also is an interesting color choice from this perspective. And then they talk a lot about the transhumanism, but they talk like predictive programming almost, you know. It's as if, I don't know, I wouldn't say promoting it, but I mean, the average player will not really think about these complications when they hear the dialogues or the things, because they're not really in your face. You just listen to them on computers that you basically hack in the game, and you listen to files if you want, you know. And my memory is not really fresh on every aspect of the game, but I found a lot of cool things, like all the calendars on the spaceship were stuck on the number 23 again, you know, but this time in March. So that's like spring, and you know, mixed with the occultic significance of the number, you know, Aleister Crowley type of things, you know, immortality. And then the whole game speaks about immortality, you know, how you can use how you can steal the DNA, well, it's not the DNA, but the essence of the Typhon, which is the black goo aliens, you steal from them, and then you merge with technology, and then you implant in humans, and you turn yourself into them, but you keep your consciousness, and basically become immortal. But only the higher ups, elite, are becoming immortal on this spaceship, and most of the people were back on Earth. You know, it's pretty crazy.
But
I
you actually
don't know
killed
exactly what.
you guys.
Sometimes I think to myself, are these people trying to expose what is happening? But when I see like occultic numbers and symbols, like there is that symbol which is the basis for the flower of life and the Metatron cube, I found that. I found a bunch of symbols, and it's a 26 long minute episode, in which I talk about what I find. But from what my conclusion is that no, they're not trying to expose, since they're hiding occult symbols in the background with significance to only a small number of people on this planet,
Well, what you were saying there about a spaceship in the sky separate from the peoples of Earth that have this new technology which is making people superhuman, but it's also killing people and making havoc all over the place, and only the elite get to have it. Is that not the same as BioShock Infinity? A city in the clouds where people are messing.
I think it's always kind of the same story, but a little bit different.
That's what it's a story of like they're trying to get eternal life, but then they also make it so they end up dying because you know like vampires, they can live forever, but then if they get in the light, they die. They end up dying anyways. It's like they kill themselves through their own evil. It's just interesting how it's always like they're seeking eternal life, but it's futile because they don't really ever have it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I've got the screen share here. Obviously, this is the same thing. This place is called Columbia in BioShock Infinite, and it's a city in the clouds built by an American man who believed himself a prophet, who manages to work with a physicist, this woman, who had mastered anti-gravity technology to fund and build this city in the sky. And they believe that they are obviously of God and they are the chosen people, and there's a lot of these other things going on. A very twisted form of Christianity rules this place called Columbia. But everyone there is messing with science to the level where like they are genetically engineering themselves to give themselves powers and so forth. And the original BioShock is the opposite. It's an underwater city where there are no rules for science, and only the best and the smartest live there and get away with doing whatever they want science related. And they end up just destroying themselves completely with this technology, becoming absorbed and obsessed with perfection, and it just becomes hell basically. So yeah, but that's the same as what you just said in Prey. It's the same.
I would like you to maybe click on this image I posted in our group call, so as a reference point to what I was talking about,
Yes, certainly, I've done that now.
Yeah, so you have that. That's the symbol of the game, So obviously, it's like a twisted pyramid symbol for me.
Well, actually, that's
and you can see like the capstone,
It's an element symbol, yeah. Obviously, got the pyramid here,
and it's the scanner that you use to be able to have knowledge about the Typhon. So when you have this on your head, you scan the entity and it's telling you automatically what it is made for. So kind of like a third eye, So even it's the significance of the device in the game is kind of like a third eye. So it's not just me saying that this symbol is the all-seeing eye. They basically tell us themselves through the significance of the instrument within the game.
Well, there's a big lens there staring right at you. And what is a lens but an eye that takes pictures, with the camera?
I was going to show you guys some pictures. I just thought I might as well show you some pictures from the game that we're developing. This is Secrets of Acadian Island. This is the one that I'm actually developing. This is just pictures from the 3D environment. I don't know if it's easy to see on the screen or not, but I'm just going to go through a couple pictures if that's cool.
Yeah, go for it. I think it's
kind of dark. You can see it's a dark base. It's not like really bright, but
it reminds me of Doom.
Yeah, but there's different parts of the base. There's like some parts of the base that are very bright and just like clean. There's like different places that look completely different from one another. This is sort of like the underbelly of the base. You know what I mean? And I don't want to get into all the details, but the Nephilim, they can also like mess with reality, mess with the surroundings. Some of them can disappear and reappear in different places and such. But
yeah, the Typhon in Prey could also appear and disappear, and they could enter objects as well. So to dwell in objects. So I think that's an interesting thing that is based on reality. Just like Black Goo, Nephilim.
okay,
I think it's all connected.
Well, there's a video trailer I want to show you right now. Kind of off the conspiracy angle a bit, and more about the literal things we can witness today about the rising social justice warrior stuff. Punch a Nazi, the Antifa rallies of everyone's a Nazi who's slightly more right wing of my extreme left wing views.
Well, I don't like the right wing people extreme either,
No,
but I think that the left wing extreme is way more violent, and it's basically terrorists.
Of course, well, I'd like to rise above this whole left-right paradigm, because that's what we should all aim to do, really, and keep our eyes on something better.
That's what terrorists are, and on TV they tell us they're warriors of truth and freedom.
Well, the new game, Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, I think it's coming out.
It's Wolfenstein. What Wolfenstein? Wolfenstein.
Okay, Wolfenstein. Sorry about that. It's my accent.
I wouldn't know either, man.
But yeah, anyway, I watched this trailer and just listen to the words that are being said in this. But first of all, it's by a proud 1960s black woman who's leading a resistance. So that obviously applies to the Black Lives Matter people instantly as well.
They got the diversity going, huh?
Oh yeah, it's full of diversity. It's even including race mixing in here. They threw
all right, pull up the clip. Let's see it.
So let's watch this and let me know what you guys think.
Okay.
Can you see that all right?
I can't see it yet. I don't know where to look.
At the vision at a Dante's Inferno. Monsters did this. Not monsters. Men. America? I guess they don't have the fighting spirit no more.
No more.
They just do whatever the fucking Fuhrer tells them to do.
Well, I don't know where to look.
We gotta set this right, Grace.
I think it's not screen sharing properly.
Ignite a revolution.
You want to strike fear in the Nazis?
Hey,
awesome.
Paul.
Fucking havoc. Well, then you come to the right woman.
It's not screen sharing, I don't think.
Killer skill.
Yeah, it's not screen sharing. You are not screen sharing.
Yeah. I think it's on the screen, isn't it? 1 second. Let's restart this.
Okay,
we were watching at the reflection of the trailer on your face, impression.
Yeah.
Right, how about, can you see it now?
Nope.
No, it's acting up for some reason.
Okay, I'm going to try this again. They click screen share. Let's see if it does it again. There we go. Is it doing it's doing an echo? Right,
yes,
that's good.
We have it now.
Sorry about that, guys. A bit of a technical. Right, can you see that?
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, let's pull this up. And can you see the full screen? It's going to do it now. Is that okay?
Yep.
Right. Let's try it again.
Like a vision at a Dante's Inferno.
Monsters did this.
Not monsters. Men. America? I guess they don't have the fighting spirit no more. They just do whatever the fucking Fuhrer tells them to do.
We gotta set this right, Grace. Put the fighting spirit back in the American people. Ignite a revolution.
You want to strike fear in the Nazis? You want to cause some real motherfucking havoc? Well, then you come to the right woman. You still got some Nazi fighting killer skills up in you? I got a plan that's going to send shockwaves throughout the nation.
Let's get this freak show on the road.
Lord, heaven, the blaze, our glory, hallelujah.
this here fire extinguisher?
Yes, of course. That sounds so good.
You should join us. We can always use more good people.
I'm sorry.
Damn, son.
Did you need this?
Yes, motherfucker. They brought this war to our shores.
People gotta know they don't have to take this shit no more.
Young brothers and sisters of the United States of America, we, the free people of the resistance, ask you to become one of us.
All right. So you get the gist. This whole thing about obviously Trump becoming president recently.
In the context, I can see where you're going with the context. Yes, with the social justice warriors and, you know, let's fight the Nazis. Let's, you know, and then the white man is, of course, the, you know, the Nazi who needs to be destroyed by the Black Lives Matter movement and the Antifa guys. You know, in the context, yes, but I don't know. Wolfenstein is a game with an old tradition. Like Return to Castle Wolfenstein, it was all about killing Nazis.
Oh, I don't deny that. No, I like shooting Nazis as much as the next guy in video games, but I can see propaganda when it's there as well.
Oh yeah, that's some good propaganda there.
Yeah, the timing.
They're really pushing it, man. They're really pushing it.
The game itself might actually, you know, not have that much. It might just be more of just a game following the tradition.
I'm not sure, you know. I mean, I only saw, what was it, like one black woman? That's it, you know. Here's what I'm trying to say. In Spider-Man, if you watch the recent Spider-Man, like his best friend is an Asian fat guy. Woman friends are only like 2 black girls.
Well, it's not about that.
Everyone...
It's about what they show in the trailer is what most people will see. Not everyone's going to play the game. So what they seem to do with these video games is they pack everything into the trailer that sells the message of the Illuminati. But then the game itself might not have, you know, it might not be that heavy on it. But the trailer is what matters because that's what people see. That's where the propaganda truly lies, I find. And there's a new game coming out. It's Shadow of War for Mordor. One of my friends is obsessed with it. He's like staying in to play it or something. But you should listen to the words in that one as well. Yeah, we could take a look at that one. But what I was saying is that in Spider-Man they replaced, like, now he's interested. Peter Parker is interested in a black girl. He no longer likes, you know, the red-haired Mary Jane. You know, so they switch characters just like they did with like Ghostbusters. Just like every movie now is
Star
propaganda.
Trek too?
Everything is feminist. Everything is SJW. Like the recent Pirates of the Caribbean was all about, I'm a woman, I can do this and that, and she doesn't just say it once, and she says it throughout the whole movie. So it's very apparent. I might do a video on this type of thing, but I will have to do it with screenshots, because if you use movie footage now, your channel will get wrecked.
Yeah, well, I've been doing this for a while. They just don't let you make any money off it, so whatever.
Yeah.
No, they delete the channel, because if you get 3 copyright strikes, you get wrecked.
Oh yeah, you're talking about if you use footage. There are some. I mean, it's tricky because I have a friend who has a video game channel, and some studios are okay with you using their footage. And some
games you can show. I'm saying about movies though.
Yeah, you have to be very careful.
Yeah,
you have to be careful.
Yeah.
All right, let's watch this second trailer.
Yeah, well, this game's just about to come out, and it's not like some context. It's not following.
You can already see the duality in the face. You see that?
Of course, yeah, that's right. But it's not actually following the story of the Lord of the Rings. It's like its own story in the world of Lord of the Rings.
I see. So kind of like Star Wars and other universes.
But this one's all in Mordor. The whole fight is happening in the evil part of the world of Middle Earth, and it's about internal warfare. Who's going to rule this section of Middle Earth? You know what I mean? So it's orcs fighting orcs. It's like bad guys fighting bad guys. They're all bad, and there aren't really any good characters in this. Let's put it that way. So this propaganda is more aimed towards actually talking about hell rising on Earth. You get what I mean? It's not about trying to push the social justice agenda. This is literally about the end goal spiritual agenda mapped out in this short trailer. So let's put it on here.
The world of men is ending. In the fires of Mount Doom, a ranger and a wraith, bound together in death, crafted the one thing that could challenge Sauron, a ring of power. But power can blind those who seek it. Celebrimbor! The great deceiver has returned to Middle-earth to rebuild his armies, to rule all. The corruption will be contained no longer. The war for Mordor begins.
Look at the X-axis. Did you see? Did you see the
What?
X-axis? The
Yeah,
double
what did you-
X's on the last banner?
Yeah, back it up a little bit.
Like no, the banner, not in
No,
the
it was
video.
just before that, just
After,
before.
right there.
Yeah, I think you're
Oh,
right.
yeah. There it is. There it is. The seal of
Yeah.
That's the
Saturn.
mark. That's the mark right there.
That's the Kabbalah seal of Saturn, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it can be 9/11. It all means the same stuff, man. It's
Of course it is.
all
Well, did you hear the words? You know, a deceiver has returned to Middle Earth. Now, if you think that from a biblical perspective, you have heaven, earth, and hell. So we're in the Middle Earth. That's us. You know, the deceiver is Earth, and it says, "What it was it? Time for it's over. Nothing's going to be held back anymore. It's time to go." You know,
Right.
and then hell is just unleashed, isn't it? And war, all that war begins between the forces of darkness. But what is ironic, and what they always do is the twist is, who is the savior but someone else born from the same hell, which is the Antichrist.
What's really interesting is this September 23rd, event. You guys probably looked into that a little bit, right? And so that has to do with Revelation 12.
Mhm.
And in Revelation 12, it talks about a scene in the heavens or in the sky, which actually happened on September 23rd, 2017, which a lot of people are like, well, what does it mean? But actually, if you read on in Revelation 12, it talks about there being a war in heaven, and then the devil is cast down to earth, and he's wroth, he's angry, because he knows he has a short time. So I think that's actually the time we're entering into soon here is the war in heaven, and then the devil being cast to earth. And then that's when the whole, the end times is basically happening, the tribulation and all that kind of stuff. So we're actually entering into the time of this war in heaven, where I think the devil is going to be cast onto earth, as it says in Revelation 12. This is just my theory on the whole thing, but
this
that
thing
relates to
makes
what you're
sense.
talking about here.
we prove these things not through necessarily like how can we prove that physically, but it's by the timing of the propaganda coming along with the event. So again, this revelation sign has just happened, and then this game is going to be released at the exact same time, talking
Right.
about the very message that prophecy talks about. And if it's from
Yeah.
those who want the Antichrist.
Yeah, well, but then of course you're gonna have all the people who are like, well, that's the game lore. You don't know what you're talking about. There's all complexities inside of the
Of
lore.
course.
Yeah,
But
but
it's-
the trailer is not that complex. It shows a simple message, right? And that message synchronizes perfectly with what we are talking about. So I don't think that's coincidental.
That's
Not-
how they can keep it always in the conspiracy realm. As long as it's in the conspiracy realm, it never gets to the general public.
And then you look at that mark with double X, like there's a million places where I've seen that, you know?
No, of course. It was also on the front cover of Watch Dogs. I believe that's his logo, isn't it? His symbol.
Yeah, the seal of Crawley is basically what it is.
Yeah, that's right. Now there's another trailer here which has the Freemason checkerboard and everything in it. It's the Bioshock trailer, and I think it's worth a watch. So let's have a look at this.
Sure.
A man has a choice. I chose the impossible. I built a city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the great will not be constrained by the small, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality.
Petty morality.
I chose to build rapture. But my city was betrayed by the weak. So I ask you, my friend, if your life were the prize, would you kill the innocent? Would you sacrifice your humanity? We all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us.
Foolish black goo.
Yeah.
The power.
Hive mind.
Damn. Yeah. I remember this.
Yeah.
Come with me.
Sinister.
But yeah, I'm actually friends with the lead sound designer of this game
Fantastic.
and other games like that, but he decided to leave the industry because it's evil.
So you figured it
I
out.
have yet to make an interview with him, you know.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be great to hear. But think about what I thought was interesting about that whole scene is at first it was on checkerboard floor. It involved large men called Big Daddies with very small girls, so the paedophilia link to the Freemasonry there as well. They use genetic, I don't know, it's called Adam, the thing they use anyway, to make himself have powers. They inject it into themselves. And obviously what came out of him was black goo and wasps, or I like to think that's a reference to becoming a part of the hive mind, the hive mind mentality, which is kind of linked in with this becoming transhuman, becoming one with a machine of some kind as well. Like the Borg is a good example of that, who fly around in giant cubes in Star Trek. So that was there as well. And I thought, and what the guy was saying at the beginning, a place free from petty morality where we can do what we want without consequence, you know. And that's exactly what the Freemasons want to have a place, you know, probably what they do in underground bases and all sorts of things. You know, and the place was called Rapture as well, which I thought was a sly dig at the whole Christian angle as well. It's all there. It's all there. Now, it's BioShock's a good game. I played it about 5 years ago. It is a good, fantastic storyline. It's engrossing, but it's just full of it. You know, it's full of pushing the idea. It's always the idea that if people with superpowers are evil going around all over the place, then you can only beat them by becoming superpowered.
A bigger, tougher machine, just like in Deus Ex, you know?
Exactly. You have to use the same magic to defeat magic.
You have to augment yourself.
It's fire with fire every time, you know, and that's not at all a Christian message.
Yeah, that's what
it is
we
really
need to
disturbing
bring.
that it has a little, you know, it has this young girl and what are they called? The big guys are called what again?
Big daddies.
Oh, that's just so messed up.
It is. The little girls go around.
I always thought that game looked creepy. I never actually ended up playing the game because it didn't look very entertaining to me. But I'm sort of like one of those guys that just like shoot 'em up war games more. So that's just me.
It is just that, really. The mechanics it's quite basic shoot 'em up. But the story is that this place where everyone was trying to become great through having no limits on their scientific endeavors went crazy with power and started to genetically engineer themselves and surgically alter themselves to become better and more superhuman using this thing called Adam, which is like this juice that they can make body augmentations out of, like you saw an example of there. But you can have lightning, fire, all sorts of things. You do mind control powers, whatever you want using this Adam. But it's become like a currency under there as it's completely corrupt, and everyone just wants more and more Adam. So these little girls go around collecting it out of the dead bodies of people to feed and power the Big Daddy, and in return, the Big Daddy protects her from being attacked.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, huh?
That's
Yeah.
just really weird. Yeah, it does sound like they're always putting it in front of your face, and of course, a lot of people who play these games can't see all the symbols.
These aspects, nah.
They just keep denying it. But I mean,
Or
honestly,
there are people who see it. A lot of the people in the gaming community do think about these conspiracy aspects. But just before a great, enlightenment was about to happen, like people knowing about Illuminati stuff and symbolism, they made up the Illuminati meme to counteract the awakening process, So everyone who starts to believe in this kind of stuff, they see the Illuminati memes and they're like, nah, I'm not going to become crazy. I'm not going to be made fun of. They're afraid to be mocked at because they are the Illuminati confirmed crazy conspiracy guy now,
Oh, mate, tell me about it. Don't worry, that's everywhere. We're all dealing with that.
No, but the gaming was one place where people were about to wake up, and they just completely blocked that awakening process with the Illuminati memes.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've seen it myself. I mean,
Paul,
I never used to.
you had people in your own life. You said like family members that gave you a hard time over it, or no?
Myself? Who?
No, Paul. Are your name Paul too?
yeah.
Is your name Paul?
No, I didn't hear what you were calling.
Okay, yeah. No, what's your name anyways?
I have no name. I am.
Oh, okay. So
no name.
let's just call you Green Marshall.
No, I have a nickname. I have a nickname on the internet that I use. It's called VOSTO, which you can say Vosto. So that's my internet identity. You can say Vosto or Games Exposed or whatever you want.
Say the green guy. The green guy.
The green guy, no problem. I'm the green guy.
Okay.
I like anonymity on the internet.
Yeah, there's
I
a few
really
channels
like it.
that. A Call for Uprising, White Rabbit was like that, and the green guy named Games Exposed, he's like that too.
Hey, even though I may seem like a machine, or I like people think that if you don't show your face, you are like a machine. You don't have personality, but I think differently. I see that. You can see that I am a warm person, even if I conceal my identity. That's not because I am afraid that people will see me. It's just my culture. I believe in anonymity. I was part of Anonymous when it was like, I don't know, in like 2010, 2011, when it was less CIA infiltration and more about fighting and lols. It was a lot of pranks, stuff like that, that you don't see in today's Anonymous. Today's Anonymous is very serious and very infiltrated at the same time. So yeah, I carried that part of the culture, the anonymity aspect. I will carry it with me forever. I think it's very healthy on the internet, where your information can be sold and you end up with a million advertisements in your email or just anywhere really, on Facebook or whatever you use,
I was anonymous for a while. Then as time went on, people found out who I was anyway. So I kind of I give up. Never mind. Here I am. But
yeah, there's no problem about that. I respect that. I'm just saying, this is who I am. I like my anonymity culture. And even if you find my name, I will still wear the same logo. I like this this image that I have made for myself.
Hey, so do a lot of other people. Don't worry about it. It's good stuff. Have you ever, I'm going to throw the question to you, actually, because I've told my story plenty.
But I do not affiliate to myself with Anonymous anymore. I may help here and there sometimes if I see a good cause, like Operation Rule 48, I think. It was about not allowing people to have virtual private networks. Mm-hmm. And that goes against the people being able to basically wear a VPN on their computer, which has their IP address. So I helped with that operation. I think it was an important thing to do.
With the VPN, so you're okay with VPNs, right?
VPNs are very important for keeping yourself anonymous on the internet.
Right. Yeah, I have a few of them. I don't use them for this. I use them for business, but I know how to be very stealth when it comes to business, and I could do it also with YouTube and everything, but I don't.
It's all right, I just fight for the right reasons. I don't help the shill Anonymous. I just have a few old friends who still do it, and I help them once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, VPNs are very important. I agree with you. I used them for business because there's a lot of issues if you're doing online business all the time, like with eBay. If you get kicked off, you can't get back on unless you have a separate a new IP address and you go stealth with the whole thing, So.
Well, I'm going to throw the question to you, Games Exposed. Have you had any trouble explaining this stuff to your family members in the past or close friends? Have they rejected you?
Well, here's the thing. In my country, in Romania, people drink less Kool-Aid, and you can talk with them about anything. And, so my dad is like, whatever. He's like, he doesn't really care, but he is very intelligent. And, he is a good person anyway, without knowing about all this conspiracy stuff. My mother, she likes conspiracy. She watches YouTube a lot, and sometimes she shows me some crazy things, and I need to tell her that it's a bunch of bullshit. And my brother doesn't care. Other and extended family, I don't talk with them that much, So for me, small family but very strong family is better than big family but not connected,
Mm-hmm.
And girlfriends and stuff like that, I sometimes I've reached the conclusion that it's better to not show them this side of me unless we truly get into a serious relationship,
Yeah, I can echo the exact same thing. Yeah, that's fair enough.
And the same with my real life friends, sometimes I know people who I can talk about this, and I know people who I can't talk about this, and it's fine. You can still be my friend if you don't believe in conspiracy theories. I'm open as long as you're a good person that respects and doesn't attack me and personally. And I don't know. I have a language barrier, by the way. I can't always express what I want. So that's why all my videos are done with a script, because I get to think about the words that I put in the actual video,
Well, that's a very good description. I think your experience, what you describe it, echoes most people who are in conspiracy. To be honest, it's the same with me. I have some friends I can and cannot speak to these things with. I know where the line is with most of them, and I don't push it. And some people don't need to know or don't want to know, and I'm not going to.
If you push it, you're just gonna be labeled, and people won't pay any attention to you, and you're gonna just lose the respect of everyone.
No, I agree. It's happened. It's tried and tested, and I think it takes about 3 years to get used to it and then know how to actually, survive.
But here's what I would do back when I was 17, 18 years old and watching a lot of conspiracies. I would actually try to spread the message. I would go hitchhiking, to when I would go to a different town or something. I like to do it hitchhiking sometimes because you meet interesting people and you can talk with them. So I talked with those people, with those drivers, and they usually were very open to listening, and they were like, "Oh, interesting, very interesting. I'll check this out." So, or conversations on the street with people. I even got myself out of a I was a rebellious teenager at the time. I still have the rebel type of spirit, but it's more rational, like more. But one time when they caught me that I didn't pay the ticket on a bus, I was using my conspiracy knowledge to basically hack into the brain of the ticket guy and make him think that we're all living in a big conspiracy, and the bus is like owned by this corporation, which is owned by blah, 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 and I don't want to pay. And he was like, "Oh, well, yeah, you're kind of right. Okay, I'll let you go this time."
Very clever. I like that. That's practical.
It's pretty
practical.
funny, man.
Yeah.
For me, I've actually, I don't know. Maybe I just know who to talk to and who not to talk to. I tell my wife some of this stuff, and she actually is open-minded kind of to some of it. I was actually kind of surprised by that. But my mom, she's kind of really not. I can't talk to her about that kind of stuff. My dad, he's a little bit okay with it. You know what I mean? Especially if it's on a political side, because he can see that there's something weird going on with the politics and everything. He knows there's something not right. So for him, he can kind of like this shooting here. I could probably actually mention it to him, and he might actually be like open-minded to it. With the Las Vegas shooting.
Hey, I see you're looking at some Half-Life footage. What do you want to say about it?
This was a game I used to be obsessed with. The whole series from the
I liked it too, actually, for a while.
Yeah. And it's very relevant. It's about a physicist working for a company called Black Mesa in the middle of the desert somewhere in some underground dumb facility, who accidentally rips open a portal to another planet, which lets in these aliens. And the first game is just about getting to the surface and killing all the aliens. But then the second game came out, and it turns out this alien is a part of a intergalactic covenant called the Combine of many races and planets, which amalgamate and become one with this idea, this thing called the Combine. And the humans get turned into the Combine as well.
Isn't this exactly the conspiracy that we're talking about?
It's just that, yeah. It's
the opening of the portal and everything. It's exactly the same, and it was made in a time where, like you said before, the conspiracies weren't that big of a thing.
I find it interesting.
This is one of my favorite games, to be honest, and.
It's a shame they never finished it.
Evolutionary games, and yeah, everyone was waiting for episode 3, but it looks like Gabe Newell doesn't want to make it, and he just wants to make money with Steam now, and that's it.
I believe this was the ending, wasn't it? What I'm showing now, and these are the masterminds of the whole Combine. These blobs.
This was part of the second episode of episode 2.
That's right, yeah. And these blobs have like weird symbols around the neck. Can you see here? Including there's a pyramid there. And they look like bizarre ancient symbols, something you see in Sumeria or Egypt or something like that. And they're just consciousness, aren't they? They levitate. They've used technology and to help them have limbs and stuff. But this is our ultimate enemy. These maggots, basically, these huge maggots. And I think that was quite an ironic twist, considering the enemies you're fighting are ferocious most of the time. And they have these parasites that go around called head crabs, which jump on people's heads and turn them into zombies as a result.
Well, that's happening in real life, right? With all the advertisements and all the crazy stuff that we are so dependent on, those are kind of like the demons that latch on our mind, and
Exactly.
we become zombies. We become like vampires are on us all the time.
Cell phone zombies, it's always on their cell phones,
It's hard, man, even for me. I mean,
I don't use cell phones. It might sound weird to you guys, but I'm the only person I know that doesn't have a cell phone. I don't even have one. My wife has.
I don't have a smartphone, again, for anonymity reasons. I don't like to have a tracking device on me all the time.
Yeah, me neither, man. I don't like that either.
Well, I do. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, it's very useful. I recognize that aspect, but it's also that I am so dependent on technology. Like, I am a very PC. Like, I like my PC so much I could marry it, basically. So when I go,
I'm married to mine. She says that's my first love. So
when I go outside, I want to go outside without distractions of technology. I want to see the trees. I want to smell the air, and it's just good for myself, Because
yeah, I'm the exact same way. That's what I'm thinking too. Because I don't want to go outside and have some piece of technology like to obsess over when I'm out. I like to get out of my house to get away from my PC.
You can keep it away from you if you are in control of yourself, but I know how I am with technology, so I'm just not gonna get it.
Well, I also ran I run a business, and I don't like people calling me. I don't even answer this phone. Generally speaking, this phone rings, I just ignore it pretty much, almost, unless it's somebody I know. Because almost every time I pick it up, I regret picking it up. Like, oh, it's some infomercial or someone I don't want to talk to or whatever,
Yeah, well, you got to think why you are on the infomercial. You clearly have a vulnerability that has been exploited.
Yeah.
Because
I just ignore it, man. I haven't checked the voicemail for like 3 months.
No one wants to sell me anything because I don't exist.
Well, that's good, man. That's good. Maybe I should get rid of my phone and get a new one.
You remember, like, all the people, when there are promotions for cigarettes and you have those hot girls walking around, they want some cigarettes,
I want the hot girl, not the cigarettes.
And
Come
then,
on, man.
And then here's what's happening. Yeah, but here's what's happening. People give their phone number. It's like, oh, you just need to give your phone number, and then you basically sold away your information that they will sell to other companies, which will sell it to other companies, and that's it. You're screwed. That's just one small example of such a vulnerability,
No, I agree. They've got their claws in all of us, haven't they? But the way I see it is, look, if they're going to come after me, they're going to come after me whether I have a phone or not. I think that's, I can see that happening. And, it's best not to live in fear of those things, I find. I mean, it's not the mark of the beast to cell phone, I'll say that much, but it's definitely...
Oh, yeah, I know. But you got this 5G coming. I got to do a video on 5G. That's
the Internet of Things. That's definitely going to be terrible. That's
some scary stuff there, 5G, man.
The mark of the beast is everything, really, that pertains to this negative consciousness. Every time you let go of your freedom and are entrapped by this, by the Luciferian technology or whatever, or the lifestyle, or you are basically trapped in their system. I think this is the sign of the beast. I don't think it's some kind of event. I think it's when you surrender your ability to be yourself, to be a human being, an independent thinking human being.
If you join the hive mind, I'd say that's over.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. You have to continually struggle against it because
it will be harder and harder because the people that we don't like so much, they are advancing their agenda, and it's going to be worse and worse to become a free, independent human being.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right, man.
I've got another game here for us, something that came to mind. Life is Strange. It was a terrible game, but I played it anyway to see what it was all about.
Oh, man, I'm not playing that.
It was awful. Honestly, it was probably the worst game I've ever played in my entire life, but it was full of time.
Yeah, look, there's like one eye signal there with the pyramid. You see the peace sign?
Oh, yeah. So it was over a one eye, wasn't it? Yeah. She's always taking selfies, this girl.
There's that wall with the all-seeing eye pyramid, but it's not in these pictures.
There's a lot of games.
She wears the Baphomet shirt on the picture from the right side, you see? You see on the top right?
There's there is. I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
The all-seeing eye appears all the
And
time.
look at the anarchy symbol. That's again, I don't think they think it means anarchy. I think it means it's the all-seeing eye. Whenever you see the anarchy symbol,
Well, it's there all the time. The the all-seeing eye in this game. They just literally plaster it all over the place as graffiti non-stop. And this is about a secret society that runs within a college within this back town, this middle of nowhere kind of place in America. And a girl comes home and studies there and ends up discovering she can rewind time and redo events to make them go her way.
yeah, but the eye is like, it's not about the eye, right? The eye is not about the society. It's just something that's...
No, it's not about the game at all. They're just throwing it around in there.
Yeah, we have to say this, because then people are going to be like, well, of course it's going to have an all-seeing eye because it's about a secret society, or, but it's completely out of context.
It is, because the Vortex Club is the secret society in this game, and their symbol is a swirling, like, Ouroboros, which represents the vortex, And this whole thing is about a girl kind of discovering...
Isn't that a pedophile symbol, too, the swirl? Or are you talking about a different swirl?
It's a different swirl. It's literally like a tornado-type swirl.
Oh,
but she discovers anyway.
Is it purple by any chance?
What's that, sorry?
Is it a purple color by any chance?
I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Life is Strange Vortex Club. Either way, the Vortex Club's where all the rich, cool kids hang out.
Let's see this shit.
It seemed like a relatively innocent thing at first.
It could be. It could be like,
another dimension.
Anthony is saying correct, because Spiral is a pedophile symbol, and we have a game about a teenager, right?
And,
Spoiler.
Look at that silhouette being thrown inside of the spiral.
Yeah, well,
interesting.
Spoiler alert, it turns out there's a paedophilic type of photographer teacher here who has been taking some of his female students to this studio he has on the ground under a barn where he takes pictures of them while they're drugged. And you kind of uncover this mystery as the series goes on. But then there's a huge storm that's coming as well, which is going to wipe out. It's a huge, massive storm, hurricane.
Because there is the symbol of purple, like a perfect storm, Have you seen that?
Yeah. Well, well, this is the perfect.
That's a spiral too, and that's like a spiral too, bro. Like the purple storm, which is shown in like that Katy Perry video with the. I don't normally listen to stupid music, but when I do, it's with symbols, and I don't listen to that. It was just shown to me accidentally. I listen to completely different music.
It's okay, man. We still think you're a man if you listen to Keep.
Well, the Knights of the Storm.
It's a pyramid being. Here's the thing, man. There's like Katy Perry on this pyramid, and it goes up, and there's a purple spiral on top of the pyramid, and she says, "Are you ready for the perfect storm?" So it's symbolism right there, and I saw the same symbolism in Total War Warhammer trailer, and now this. It's all confirming for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
I did a couple videos about the Great Pyramid. I actually think that the bottomless pit is in another dimension underneath it, and I got that idea. I just was. It might sound a little strange, but I was praying about something completely different, not even related, and God told me this, and I'm like, what is this? So I went and did research, and there's the Emerald Tablets of Thoth that actually say that's what's underneath the Great Pyramid. So I think the Great Pyramid is where is like a capstone over the bottomless pit, and it's in another dimension though. So it's interesting that this vortex is like another portal, and you mentioned Katy Perry on a pyramid going into a vortex, which is another dimension, which would be the bottomless pit, or something coming out of the bottomless pit. Like I was mentioning, the Sphinx looks like the locust if you look at the description of them. So I think that's what's actually going to come out of the bottomless pit is what you see in that Sphinx. It's just a theory of mine on Revelation, but so that's why they always going for the pyramid is because I think it's a capstone to another dimension.
Well, on the perfect storm symbolism, the night the storm happens in the game, you're at a party with the next to this pool, which is nothing but purple themed.
Everything is like purple and pink and blue and stuff. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it literally that's the pool you go around.
This is great. Like it's moments like this when I sometimes feel shivers down my spine, because it all connects together and you can see it, and it's very clear, and you're like, just when you're like, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I have my struggles, and maybe this isn't real, you know, and then a moment like this happens when we uncover something, and I'm like, oh man, you know, this is another confirmation, and it brings shivers on my spine, and I'm like, man, I gotta keep fighting for this, you know.
So, well, just to confirm it all, anyway, they throw a lesbian scene in there at one point. You play this character, this girl. This game is clearly designed for women, and you have this cooler friend who has dyed blue hair and is proper social justice warrior stereotype. Anyway, you have a choice: kiss her or don't kiss her. I didn't actually. I don't know why I wasn't thinking about it. But if you do, clearly this is where it leads. And at the end of the game, you can do it again while the storm is hitting. So they throw that in there as well. You got to throw the LGBTQ sort of stuff in there if you're gonna.
You must also in the movies and everything, man. It's everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere now.
For us, it's so obvious, you know, the propaganda. Like even if we don't know each other, like I didn't meet you guys before, and we can have this conversation where we all have this kind of the same points of view, and we understand each other so well, you know. But there's all these people out there who could. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's a tough fight we got on our hands, you know.
These conversations we're having will make more people want to join in. You know, that's what we're doing. We're trying our best. We've got another game here, We Happy Few. This one is still in development. It's not fully out yet. But this is a creepy one. It's set in the 60s, and it's a dystopic world where everyone takes this drug called joy, and it makes them ignore all the terrible things that are happening around them. And
it's inspired from Brave New World Soma.
That's right. It's the Soma in Brave New World. It makes you forget all life's problems and see the world as one big happy rainbow and wonderful. But if you're not taking your joy, people around you call you a downer. Like, you're not a downer, are you? And if they figure out you are a downer and you're bringing everyone down because you're not taking your joy, they attack you and come after you. The police start to chase you down and beat you down.
Man.
This is like have you ever seen that series, The Black Mirror? Have you guys ever watched it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like the season 3, episode 3 about where the guy has they have these, almost all of them are like the same thing. It's like you have something in their eye, like a device, and it helps them to see things. And these soldiers are thinking they're killing these zombies, and they're actually killing normal people, but this implant makes them think that they're seeing a zombie.
I remember that episode.
Yeah, that is just all those episodes are so disturbing, man.
I mean, that's the point.
They're all in the same delusion.
But they wake up a lot of people with those episodes, I think, because it's pretty obvious, and it's obvious that they are asking a question about the dangers of what will happen in a future world if we're not careful.
Well, so I think it's going to happen. That's kind of what this game's saying too.
Well, it shows here in this scene.
This game is not so. It's not so obvious, you know. This is what we theorize, that it's about a possible future where people like us will be destroyed, you know. So I think this game is occult. Like it's showing something occult. But I think like something like the Black Mirror series is in your face, and it wants you to not become part of the zombies, you know.
Yeah. I hope so.
Who knows? Black Mirror is a very strange title to pick, you know. It's quite satanic.
Well, it's a scrying mirror, isn't it? Witches use black mirrors to summon demons.
Exactly. So, you know, even though you think you're watching something enlightening, you're still consuming the same bad apple.
Do you see the one that's like Facebook in with the eye plug-in with Facebook kind of? I think it's like episode 3 or season 3, episode 1. I think it is. And they have you have different ratings. Everybody has a different rating, and you try to be nice to everybody to get a higher rating, and you get ratings.
Yeah, you get stars. It's horrible.
That was so funny.
Episode. Yeah, it was. I watched it. I recommended it to a few friends. And that's what's happening right now. You know, people just trade likes on Facebook, and it's horrible.
But what I thought was funny about this We Happy Few is it's not really the future. It's kind of right now. We live in an age where people are on medication than ever, and taking their happy pills. You know,
it is a metaphor for right now. But
and the
future is gonna be even worse. Like to the point where it's gonna be pretty obvious. You think a little bit different than us, boom, eliminated one single button. Especially in a transhumanistic future, where by the press of a button or a command line, you can shut off a person because they're going to be tapped in the system. You know?
Oh yeah, that's definitely coming. I can't believe people can't see that kind of danger. They must have some kind of blind faith in authority to believe that people wouldn't abuse the power.
I think it's spiritual forces keep them blind in certain respects, and they don't realize they're blind. And I think you can be very, very blinded in many respects and not even be aware of it. And you don't know it until you're not blind. You know what I mean? So a lot of people think they're enlightened, that they're fine.
You see that rainbow over there? Like the rainbow, that's also a symbol, the rainbow bridge. I mean, for them, of course, rainbow in the Bible is a sign that God made to, tell us that it's all going to be good or something. But for them, the rainbow is something completely different. You know,
well, yeah, they took a symbol and perverted it for their own means. I mean, the rat they hit in the game, which they see when they're on Joy, they see it as a wonderful pinata full of candy. No, but as soon as he whacks it, it turns out they're eating a dead rat. You know what I mean? But the joy blinds them.
That's awesome. That's just like that. It's like Black Mirror. It's like you think you're doing something good and you're doing evil.
It's exactly what you were talking about. Yeah, that's what I thought was interesting. You see one thing, but actually doing another. And that's what this game is really all about. And the game is about you taking joy at the right times to make people not suspicious of you. You know, so it's kind of like what we have to do as conspiracy theorists is pretend to be a
blend in sometimes, huh?
Like when you're at work, let's say, or you're a public place, it's like you can't make that scene because you'll be attacked. And
so maybe the game is trying to expose what's happening. I don't know. We need to talk to the developers or something.
Well, it's quite an indie game. It's not a big lined game.
It's an indie game. That's good.
It's taken a lot of funding to get there. The main character, you can see him in his office here at the beginning. She's saying, "Have you not taken your joy? Here, take some of mine." And but what he does, he edits newspapers and censors newspapers, and then sends the roll off into this tube to fly off and to be edited. But what I thought was funny is once he does his work, he walks out of his office when he's not on the joy, and if you walk through when he's on the joy, everything's working smoothly. When you're not on the joy, you realize this pipe's going nowhere, and they're all just falling into a pile into another room. Like everything he does is irrelevant.
Awesome. It's just like your whole job is worthless. You know, it's pretty cool.
Basically, there's also a commentator. I don't know what his name would be. We happy for you. Let's see if it comes up. But it's just this guy on a TV constantly saying how great everything is and how wonderful it is and have you taken your joy today? You know, and he's always speaking in the background on a tannoy somewhere of some kind, just constantly brainwashing the people to say everything is great, everything is wonderful. So that's obviously like the mainstream media today in the news. So it's just a metaphor.
I think this game might be like a book, you know, like 1984.
Oh yeah.
We consider that book to help us understand what their tactics are. The same with, I'm not sure about Brave New World though. Brave New World might be predictive programming. I don't know.
We don't know with any of these things. I think they underestimate the intelligence of the public if they are trying to brainwash us, and maybe they're just
It's pretty hard to decide, huh? But we can talk about various perspectives. That's what's cool, you know.
This looks like an interesting game, though. I wonder how it plays out. I mean, how the game.
Wait,
plays.
I thought you were just the shooter guy. You like these science fiction games too, huh?
Well, this one just looks weird. I would like to see something like where everybody's like in some. It's just kind of like Black Mirror. It's like kind of interesting, even though, like you're saying, this Black Mirror could be like them just putting in your face what they want to do, but they're like actually exposing themselves, you know. But very few. I don't think a lot of people watch the Black Mirror. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
Black Mirror is not such a well-known. It's just a UK produced. So our friend here is from UK, so
I can really see it as being them putting it.
It's popular. Is it popular in UK? Do people watch Black Mirror since it's a UK production?
Yeah, it's very popular on Channel 4. I think Charlie Brooker, the guy who does it, also does some comedy skits sometimes on Channel 4. He's quite a big, well-known name. I don't know if he's a part of the industry or not. I don't really follow him or no. I saw the first 2 seasons of Black Mirror. But
you're
yeah,
just trying to get it in your head, like so you're subconsciously accepting that it could happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
But then you could say that we are also part of the plan, since we are exposing the people to these kinds of plans, and they will accept them as possible futures, huh?
Well, we have an answer though. They don't really have an answer. They're just telling you what might happen, and we're actually have an answer for it. Which would be Jesus. Or understanding the truth about reality.
Oh, look, that's I made a video about that society. It's the White Glove Society from
Yeah.
Fallout
So
New Vegas. You should
The
check
whole
out the video I made.
I have done. I have already. But yeah, the whole game itself is full of it. There's even another club called Gamora in this game as well.
Yeah, I know, but I think that this society was like up there, high in the ranks.
Well, they were cannibals, weren't they? That's the catch. That's what you're trying to find out as the mystery. They were eating people.
And they also white glove. Who wears white gloves? The Masons do. So I
That's
didn't
right.
put that in the video, but
Here we go. This is their main hall, and of course, it has a checkerboard floor in the middle. And that's what they do, isn't it? They eat people, and they consider themselves richer and better than all the other peasants in this strip.
and they even have a guy called Heck Gunderson, which tries to go against their plans.
That's right.
Here's what I found interesting, but I didn't put in the video because I'm just speculating. There's a guy called Ted Gunderson that exposes the pedophiles, and he used to be a CIA,
Yeah.
the head of CIA or FBI, I don't remember.
Did he die? Was he died?
Yeah, he died exactly after this game was made. That's what I was going to say.
I
That's
see.
so
And
messed
Heck
up.
Gunderson is a guy who goes against the White Glove inside of the game.
Well,
That's
Bethesda.
what I'm talking about. This is so sick, and it's such a sick thing. It's kind of like with the election. You saw all this stuff coming out about Hillary Clinton and
Yeah, look
John
at that guy, checkerboard floor on him, and
all this sacrifice stuff and pedophilia and all this nasty crazy stuff with Pizzagate, and it's just like maybe they're just putting it out there so that it's in the conspiracy realm, so that they're actually admitting to it, or letting the information out. You know what I mean? But no, nothing ever is being done about it. They're still walking around. They're still doing whatever.
did you see that other image you showed with the tops? Like,
Yeah.
look what's happening there. He's wearing checkerboard floor. Like, what you see in the image without context. You see the checkerboard, and then you see the woman kind of animalistic side or whatever, and then you see the tops. So this is what matters. This is what's in the top. They're fucked up society. Sorry if I say that these words on air, but
No, that's a proper usage of
it's
it.
like yeah, so it's like Sodoma and Gomorrah is the tops. Basically, it's at the top of the pyramids, and it doesn't look so good,
Well, a lot of people don't know a lot about Sodom and Gomorrah. If you look at the book of Jasher, I mentioned it earlier, they love to do evil to everyone. And it wasn't just had to do with sex. It was like anything. It was like robbing. Like a merchant would come in, they would each individually line up and take one item from the guy and then say, well, why'd you rob me? He'd be like, oh, I only took one item. Everybody would say they only took one item. And then as he went out of the city, they'd be taunting and mocking him.
Look, that's Gomorrah right there in the same game. It's casino.
Oh, they also did swinging. I think it would be kind of like rape swinging 4 times a year in Sodom and Gomorrah in the 5 cities of the plain. Every 4 times a year, they would go to this lush part of the plain, which I'm guessing was some sort of ritual, and they would just take each other's daughters, and that was without their permission. You know what I mean?
It's pretty bad, man. I think that's what they do even right now, and in places like Hollywood and stuff like that.
Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. It's
Look at how many kids end up with problems psychologically in Hollywood. Like, look at the Terminator kid, who played in Terminator 2. He just became a drug addict.
That guy
Yeah.
was in a Christian movie.
But he after the Terminator 2, he became a drug addict. Like when he was later on in life,
But he
the same
actually was in a Christian movie like about I think 8 years ago or 7 years ago. I don't know what happened to him after that. I only saw him in one Christian movie.
I think these people, and there's also that guy who played in Home Alone, the blonde guy,
Oh, yeah.
Kevin
Macaulay Culkin.
Collie something. He also got heavy into drugs and stuff like that. So I think these guys may be mentally damaged after being raped in Hollywood or something.
Well,
It's just a
that
hunch.
guy from Terminator 2, he played a cult leader in a Christian movie where he was like a cult leader, and then they were trying to stop him. And I can't remember what the movie was, but I actually saw it, and I knew it was the kid from Terminator 2. So I thought it was really interesting. He was in a Christian movie, but also there's that guy Howie Mandel that is in all those game shows. The guy with the bald head. That guy was actually in a Christian movie too. It was called Tribulation with Gary Busey. Gary Busey. He was the guy that was in Predator 2, I think it was.
Yeah.
He was also in a Christian movie.
So you think they turn against Hollywood and join Christianity?
But then they look crazy. Then they try to make him look crazy. They made Gary Busey look crazy after that. And
so maybe this movement is also part of the control system.
I don't know, but I think they were just trying to make him look bad after that. They also did that to Mel Gibson.
I wouldn't watch
a Christian movie. They
Christian movies made by Hollywood or by what? By who?
Well, no, they weren't made by Hollywood studios. They were made by Christian studios. But what I'm saying is, what usually ends up happening though is if someone's in a Christian movie, they usually can't get in any Hollywood roles after that. Like Mel Gibson or whatever, he was said to be a drunk and all that stuff. But no, he's actually in a movie recently with Expendables something.
Mel Gibson is a great director, and he made also the Passion of Christ series and all that stuff. He's well part into the system, into the Hollywood system, So even if he doesn't act, he controls many of the movies that are released.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about Mel Gibson. I think he actually is trying to do the right thing, but I think he's also played both sides.
So what do you think of the Passion of Christ then? Is it an accurate depiction of what happened? Or is it trying to do the right thing? Or is it a symbolism? Or what is it?
I think it's more accurate than a lot of them because it tries to use the original languages. And
it's a Romanian actor, by the way, who plays the mother of Jesus in that... or should I say actress? I don't even know what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah.
But in Romanian, we say actor to, I don't know, we don't really use actress as the term, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, there's a Romanian actress there chosen to play the mother of Jesus, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, I know it was Stallone that put him in a newer movie in Hollywood, and I don't know what to think about Stallone either because I think he's played both sides. I think he's been in it, and I think he's been out of it. I don't know. Those guys play the line, you know what I mean? I don't know what to think.
You never know, right? I mean, you can't know these guys personally. We only know what we see in the movies and what we see in the interviews and such.
Right.
But James Cameron is pretty cool. I think he is completely he makes statements against these wild feminists, that tell them how to make movies. And he said about how they try to force that feminism stuff on the recent Captain America, what's
America.
That woman?
Wonder
What's
Woman.
that? Wonder Woman, yes. In the movie, he was like, they forced it too much in that movie to make her powerful and all that stuff, it's all force. But in his movie, he was talking in Terminator 2, how we like Sarah Connor as a character because, it's a believable, she is powerful. It's a powerful woman character that is not forced to be like that, He was making the difference between these things, and the feminists, of course, went to criticize him and say, you don't know or you don't understand what it's to be a woman. And, teaching him how to make movies when he made probably the best movies out there, but whatever.
There's a lot of backlash to this SJW stuff coming from mainstream sources, I've found. Not everyone's going along with it.
They go rampant, man, on movies, and they also go on games. Anita Sarkeesian attacking all the games. It's crazy.
Yeah. She's got a chip on her shoulder, that girl.
Man, when I listen to her talk, it's like I listen to the devil, basically.
Let's
you
just
can tell she has an agenda behind and an intention, and she's just preying on the weak people who can accept her wild cult.
Well, I don't think people put up for it. Do you remember that game Postal? That's another game that came out a very long time ago. Postal 2, I think it was. Postal. And that had a big... Yeah, it was the most ridiculous game in the world, honestly. You were just this guy who lived in a trailer park who just goes postal and starts doing whatever he wants in this town and killing people. But it was so ridiculous because you were killing like turban-wearing terrorists running around. I'm not kidding. Yeah, Gary Coleman was one of the main enemies at one point at a book signing, and you had to kill him and his guards and things like that. But then there's games protesters as well were there, and they were protesting outside of the office you work in, which is you make games and make video games. And they were protesting out no violence in video games, and like feminists were there as well and saying all this type of stuff. And that game came out a very long time ago, and I thought that was a joke game that kind of echoes a future which I realized kind of came to fruition. Here it is now. You know what I mean? These people protest video games for being offensive. It's kind of hilarious.
Oh yeah, lots of feminism now, isn't there? Even Star Trek, I heard, is being sort of feminist a little bit with a female captain, and I don't know. It sounds a lot of crazy stuff.
Man, I don't think I'm gonna even like. This might
I heard
be the reason.
The worst one was Lord of the Flies is going to be all women on an island instead of men.
I might end up my channel soon because I won't stand to look at movies or play the games anymore. I just would not. I can't stand them. One, because games are becoming very, very boring, and they're very much propaganda and all the time, and movies with this SJW stuff, and it's like I can't do this. It's like a torture.
You're not alone. I think a lot of people are switching it off, to be honest. I think people are going to alternative sources like YouTube and finding people like us instead. I think it's getting to that point now where enough people are getting sick of it that something big has to happen to kind of shake up the whole system. I think people are catching on rapidly now to like what's going on around them. And I think the people, the powers that shouldn't be, are running scared, to be honest. I think they're losing.
It's coming more to the surface. You're right. It's like it's becoming more obvious that there's a war going on, and it's not just some sort of political thing, but there's something really going on, and it's becoming more outward. You can see it in music. It's just becoming more and more disgusting and more. There's a bigger divide. You can see that the normal people, in a sense, and just this really perverted. What in the world is this stuff? It's just getting really strange. You watch a music video and it's literally some occult sacrifice service with some
cannibalistic stuff going on.
Just the weirdest stuff ever, and you're like, how in the world does anybody enjoy that? It's just so
yeah, like you got Miley Cyrus dressed up as a kid doing some weird stuff,
Yeah.
Being in sexual positions, but being dressed as a baby, and you got another artist making. I think I don't remember their names, but I remember the cannibalistic ritual as well, and she's being served on a table.
Marina Abramovich is his name.
No idea, bro. I don't follow that stuff anymore. But what I will say to you have a very positive outlook, but I see that most people are programmed to see people like us as we're Nazis. We are Christian crazy. Like what we've managed to make in this conversation. Like if a social justice warrior looks at us, they're gonna be like, "Oh, look at these white males just going about their white privilege."
Well, you're green. You're green, man. So
yeah, I'm green. See,
we got a lot of diversity going on here. We got diversity here.
I got diversity in this house, man. So yeah, we're Nazi crazy conspiracy theorists. We're gonna be the first on the list of destruction.
That's probably a nice place to end this podcast. Yeah, that's what we are. No, disclaimer: we're above left-right identity politics. I think.
Yeah, of course.
The past identity politics. Us
I just like center. Why there is no center? It's always you have to pick left or right or. I just want
the Hegelian dialectic. You have to have choices put in front of us. So, right. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's getting late for you, bro. How late is it there? Or how late is it in Romania? I don't even know what time it is.
7 a.m. It's great here.
Oh wow.
It's 4:45 for me.
I should we're getting late. I should let you guys go, man. It was good though. I like this. This is a good conversation.
No, yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Hopefully we can do it again sometime.
We can do it on my channel or Gamers Exposed channel there, Gaming Exposed channel.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, we can hop on your channel too, Anthony. No
That'll
problem.
be fun. It'll be fun.
It's
Thanks.
like it is the first time first time I've been on a live stream on the scariest movie ever, and that's about it. You know, I'm
Yeah, he's
kind
a
of
good
an
guy. He's a good guy. I've talked to him on the phone a couple times.
I'm kind of an introvert, but like I like to stay in my own shell for a lot of time. But sometimes I may go out and talk with you guys. It's really a pleasure.
No, you're always welcome, of course. And to finish up, anything you guys want to say, anything you want our viewers to know about, any websites or anything in particular to get your message out?
Go ahead. You have something?
I just have a YouTube channel called Games Exposed. Check it out right now. I have 20 episodes. Apart from that, Remove Kebab. It's over 9,000. And see you guys next time.
All right, good stuff. See you again.
Yeah, I've just God Rules is my channel, and I think it's jilgames.com is the website for the games. Yep, jilgames.com.
All right, good stuff, guys. All right, thanks for coming. It's been great. We'll end it there, and hopefully we'll do this again soon. Thank you, guys.